They are living the world through their lens, and I don't have to keep carrying that. I am not obligated to carry their trauma, so I just threw it out the window. Hey there, my handsome and pretty little Cobras, and welcome back to the Cobras Nest. For those who are here new, my name is Mignon Cobra, and I make minimalism videos. So today's minimalism video is going to be, let's do the shadow work. So I got 11 things that I want to talk about. I know I always mention, you should do the shadow work when you journal, and I've never actually made one of these. So without further ado, let's just get a drink and let's go. Woo! Okay, so coming in at number 1, forgive yourself for past relationships. I know how painful it is when things don't work out, especially if you really like the person. I'm assuming the person you were dating was someone that you liked. It is so painful to keep holding on to that. And I know that we all just want to keep chewing and dissecting the relationship, wondering, what did he do wrong? What did I do wrong? What could I have done differently? And that was eating me alive, and it ate me alive up for, I want to say, 5 years. I couldn't get over one of my more deeper long-term relationships that I had in university, and it got to the point where I was just so sick and tired of living like that, because let's be real, that's really embarrassing. I was only in that relationship for 2 years, and it took me 5 years to get over it. So if that is you, do not feel embarrassed. It's really natural for humans. We're social creatures to get attached to people. So what I ended up doing was the shadow work. I think that it's really important to forgive yourself. Something that really helped me move forward was this idea that you don't own them. I know it's feels like there are X. But the thing is, nobody owns you either. We are born alone and we die alone. If it didn't work out, it didn't work out for a reason, and you just have to move on, and you have to find peace in that, because honestly, not finding peace is robbing you of the peace of today. It's robbing you from the happiness that you might be not experiencing in the current relationship that you're in, or even just being single. It's holding you back. It's becoming baggage, and I just don't want that for my Cobra babies. So if no one else has said it, I think you can finally forgive yourself. There's a lot of dark things that humans do to each other, and it's really hard to just forgive. Sometimes it's just easier to keep hating them, hating yourself, but that's really no way to live. And so I think that part of the shadow work, especially because significant others are really big parts of our lives, they pretty much create eras in our life, they're chapters in our lives. So I think that if you want to move forward and you want to start a new chapter in your life, and you haven't forgiven yourself or you haven't forgiven them, it's time to forgive them and move on, because you owe it to yourself. Getting angry at them is like drinking the poison and hoping somebody else dies. It only hurts yourself. Okay, coming in at number 2, let go of an old friendship that has died. That to me was such a massive thing that I was working through. I actually ended up breaking up with 2 of my closest friends. I broke up with my best friend from childhood, and I broke up with my high school best friend. And for that relationship just to fall apart was so devastating, and I kept blaming myself. I was like, 2 people don't want to be with me, must be me, But something that has given me a lot of peace is that realizing that sometimes friendships are just seasons, and that healed me a lot. I have strengthened some of my other relationships or other friendships with other friends who we still are on the same page, and I've just made my peace that honestly, it's better for all parties involved. Why would you still want to keep hanging out with somebody when they've already told you that they don't want to spend time with you? And so it isn't that it's a toxic relationship and you guys weren't for each other. It's just realizing that it's okay. And so that's something that I did the shadow work. I worked through that. I made my peace. I fully accepted that sometimes people are just seasons, and it's okay when we move on or we grow apart, whether they decided or you decided. It is okay, and that is just life. Okay, coming in at number 4. What toxic shit are you still holding on to? Some toxic things that I kept holding on to was I graduated from a dental school, and I didn't want to spend another $100,000 on pushing myself through the bar, which is 5 exams plus cram school. I was I literally just finished paying off a student loan of $70,000. I can't keep bleeding money like this. I was exhausted, I was tired, and it was really hard telling people around me that although I had just graduated from dental school, I was I don't think I'm gonna move forward with becoming a dentist. This is just too much. I can't do this. Honestly, by the time I became a dentist, I was gonna already be in my 40s. And that really ate me up for many months. And I worked through that, and that is part of the shadow work, because I was just such in a miserable place. Just thinking about it, did I waste that much money? Did I waste that much time? But something that has really given me peace is that, am I happy with my current life? I'm really happy with my current life. Like, I'm not stressed about money. I'm not stressed about my work. I'm not stressed about my relationship with my family and friends because, like, I'm in a really good place and my business is doing really well. And so did it, like, take away from the fact that I, didn't end up doing anything with my medical degree? No, like, I don't know. I'm like really happy about that. And that's like the toxic shit that you carry with you, because like my dad would be like, how come you're not going to finish it? Like, I really do think that you should finish it. And I just told my dad that I was like, honestly, like I feel like I did a lot of delayed gratification. Like, I struggled so hard to put myself through undergrad, through teachers college, through med school. I was like, I'm done. I'm tired. Like, I just want to live my life, even if for a couple years. And so letting go of that toxic shit is really, really, really important. Writing it down, figuring out what are expectations others have of you that may not necessarily be what you want of you. Because honestly, at the end of the day, the person you have to live for is you. If you are struggling with something, understand that any decision that you make should be for you, because at the end of the day, the person who has to live with the consequences of their action is you. Coming in at number 4, are you still living by your parents' expectations? So this is a really big one, especially if you are close with your parents, especially if you are high achieving as I was, or yes, I was. I don't think I'm high achieving anymore, I'll be completely honest. I closed that chapter of my life. I am not ambitious. I am in my soft era. Our parents love us. Our parents want the best for us. But sometimes, and this is obviously something, discernment, you gotta look at your own situation. Sometimes parents put their dreams onto you, and not because they're trying to be evil and they're trying to tell you how to live your life, but it's really because parents want the best for you. And what may have been a dream for them or something that worked out for them does not mean that you need to live your life for your parents. And I don't know if that frees anyone. That really freed me. I need to live for me. I need to make decisions for me, because honestly, I am a grown ass adult, and I really do think that if you're above the age of 20, you too are a grown ass adult. And working through that shadow work of figuring out what it is that I wanted out of my life versus what were my parents' expectations of me, and figuring out which is theirs and which is mine, is going to give you so much relief, because I think a lot of us do carry a lot of expectations from childhood. Our parents wanted this for us, our parents wanted that for us, and we keep carrying it. And you were born into this world with free will. There comes a point where if what your parents expected of you is not serving you anymore, really no hard feelings, you are free to say no to that. And I know it's really difficult, because sometimes in some cultures, parents pay for things for their kids, and so you feel like, oh, I don't even have a right to say no. But you owe it to yourself, and out of respect for yourself, you need to figure out what it is that you want out of life. Okay, coming in at number 5, are you still carrying the mean words your ex said? I think most people who've had any kind of relationship with another human being can definitely think of some of the toxic and mean things we have said to each other, whether it be they said to you or you said to them. And I think part of the shadow work is letting go of some of the things that our exes have said to us that was really damaging. Honestly, there's been things I have said that probably were like out of line and shouldn't have been said. Like, we're all human, and to be human is to err. So because of that, I just realized as I did the shadow work at my mom's place, I started to let go of all the nasty things my exes had said to me. There's really no need. That's their perspective. They are living the world through their lens, and I don't have to keep carrying that. I am not obligated to carry their trauma. So I just threw that shit out the window. Coming in at number 6. Are you still comparing yourself to her? So I say her because I'm a woman, and so I see the world through a woman's lens, but you could sub it in for him if you are a male subscriber. I would compare myself, and I felt at the time I was doing it from a place of ambition and inspiration, but I would compare myself to my idols. Like, I would be like, they have what I want. And at first I was like really inspired, and I just had no sense of identity. I was always comparing myself to my idols. I was always changing myself to fit my idols, and I never really let Nat just be Nat. I almost didn't even know who I was, because I was always so busy being inspired by others. And I knew that this wasn't healthy when the inspiration stopped feeling like inspiration and started feeling like a punishment. I always felt like I wasn't enough. Why couldn't I be like her? Why couldn't I be pretty like her? Why couldn't I this? Why couldn't I that? And I was just like, if only I had a nose like her, I would be, pretty like her, successful like her. And it was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I actually just want to be Nat. Like, I am not ashamed to admit these things, because I'm only human, and I know that if I have experienced certain things like that, I know that somebody else has experienced it as well. And for me, I just realized, I was like, this isn't healthy. I'm pretty sure you can think of people where you're just like, oh, I wish if I was like her, I'd be like this, I'd be like that. Actually, I got this tip actually from Hamza. He's a red pill community YouTuber, but I do like his stuff. And he was in school, and he had a teacher that was Pakistani like him, but he didn't whitewash himself, and he still got bare bitches, his words, not mine. And he realized that like all these excuses that he had come up with about, you know, why girls don't like him, it's because he's not white, because he's Pakistani, he realized was completely invalid. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, wow, that's insane, because like he's a highly attractive man. And I was just like, am I robbing myself of that? Like, am I like not a good looking girl? Like, am I not pretty enough to just be Nat? Like, am I not? And that really like was a slap in the face. And then I realized, like, I don't need a nose job, I don't need to keep coloring my hair, I don't need to keep going on these crazy diets, like I don't need to do any of that. Like, I can just be Nat. And I think that especially having a YouTube channel, that's something that also helped me in my shadow work. Was like, my subscribers love me, why can't I love myself the way that they love me? I was like, you owe it to yourself, Nat. And so I'm gonna say that to you, my subby, my little Cobra baby. You are beautiful just the way you are. I know TikTok tells us pretty privilege and and plastic surgery and all that other good stuff, but you're unique and you're beautiful just the way that you are. Like, if you want to self-improve, go for it. But at the same time, what I want to say is, like, you don't have to keep comparing yourself to so-and-so. They are they, and we already have them. We now need you to be you. Okay, coming in at number 7. Are you still using social media metrics to validate yourself? I feel like this is a very modern 21st century issue, maybe very first world, but it feels real. Like, it feels so real. Like, I know it's just numbers on a screen and probably you feel like kind of ridiculous, but I suffered from it. I'm pretty sure a lot of content creators suffer from it. And I think even regular, not that I'm not regular, I'm actually very regular. What am I saying? I think most people who have some sort of social media account feel this type of pressure, this type of like social metric validation. And I just want to tell you that it's toxic and it's going to take you nowhere. And I say that because I suffered from that. I used to always write in my diary or in my like goals or New Year's goals, I want to reach X and Y followers, X and Y subscribers. And it was like my raison d'etre, and it was like everything for me. And it was so toxic. Like, it was so toxic. I legit would fall into the biggest bouts of depression, feeling like I didn't reach my goals, or why aren't I growing enough, and it was like one goal after another goal, and nothing ever felt like enough. Like, at first I was like, I was gonna be so happy once I became monetized. Once I hit 1,000 subscribers, like, I was finally gonna be grateful, I was finally gonna be happy. None of that happened. I hit it and I was like, we now gotta push for 2K, we gotta push for 3, we gotta push for 10, 50, 100, we gotta hit 1 million, like, we gotta make, and I was like, it's just never ending. Like, it's absolutely never ending. And once I started getting PR packages and I started getting paid for my work, it still wasn't enough. Like, I need to be hitting 100K. Like, I wasn't happy. I was so miserable. And I think that people can relate to this. So yeah, so what freed me? Because we're doing shadow work right now. You just need to decide that you're just not going to be validated by that. Like, you cannot be validated by the numbers. The numbers are arbitrary. Some of those things are bots. Honestly, if you really do want to grow your social media following, provide value to other people, and you'll finally get what you want. If it was that, you have to give to receive. If you want people to come to you, you have to give to people. And I can say that is because the majority of my best videos are videos where I gave top tips to helping others. So if that's something that's important to you, that would be my suggestion. And on the other side, if you're not a social media content creator and your livelihood doesn't matter about the numbers really truly don't matter. Like, it really doesn't matter. I know that sounds awful because I have a following, but at the end of the day, the most important thing is your mental health. And if it's making you sick, take a break, write it down, figure out exactly what it is about the social media numbers that you are seeking validation. What is it? Like, there's something in there. You'll figure it out, and you just got to write it out. Because if you don't, it's just going to keep nagging you, and it's a really long process, especially because nowadays we use so many metrics by that. But I just want to tell you, they're just numbers. You are more than just a number. Okay, coming in at number 8, are you still chasing style trends? And I feel this might be a female issue. Maybe it's a male issue. I don't know. I'm not a guy. I can't speak to that. But if you are still trapped in chasing cycles, you will always just be a sheep following the crowd. Whatever whim the giant machine of social trends pushes out, you just have to wear it. And I don't know about you, but for me, I got so sick and tired of feeling like a sheep. I always felt so sick and tired of just being at the receiving end of things where it's like everyone's doing this and so you have to too, and so I'd always be one step behind instead of just being like at the forefront and being like, no, this is my style, this is what I like, and I don't care that it's on trend, I don't care that other people don't like it, I don't care that I kind of felt like there gets to a point where you just have to stop bending the knee to society. You need to put your foot down in some place. And I think that maybe the most easiest way, because there are probably other ways, but the most easiest way is actually by saying like, no, this is my style. You would be surprised by what people have to say about your style. A lot of people will be like, ew, why do you dress like that? Why do you... It's really big. It hits something in people for you to be like, yeah, I don't want to partake in that, because then that's implying them partaking in it makes them stupid. So most people don't want to face that mirror of realizing that they're just a sheep. And so that's why I use social fashion trends, the cyclical trends, is that because honestly, it's a really sickening and waste of money to be constantly chasing these trends. You also don't feel a sense of pride in your style because you don't have a sense of style. You're just wearing the next hot thing. And we get tricked by society that, oh, it's because we're with it, we're chic, we're in the know. But no, we're not. We're just blindly following and blindly consuming what we're told that we should wear, when in reality, you should be doing a little bit of soul seeking and figuring out what it is that you like to wear. So for me, I realized I love to wear beige and white. It makes me look like I work in the Apple store, but it makes me happy. And so because of that, if you go back to the past 300 videos, I'm essentially just wearing beige. And I decided to get rid of logos because unless I'm doing a PR package and they're paying me, I don't want logos on my clothing. That's something that I realized in my year of abundance. I was like, I bought a bunch of stupid logos and nobody celebrated me. So I just want to tell you that you don't have to keep chasing these fashion trends. Figuring out your own style is going to be super, super rewarding, and also really good on the wallet because you don't have to keep trying X, Y, and Z style. Okay, number 9, are you just mindlessly consuming content? I feel like this is part of the shadow work. I feel like a lot of the sadness that we feel in our modern era is because we are just constantly indulging in being fed and shoved down our throat endless and endless amounts of content. I really don't think the human mind is meant to consume that much content. I really don't think it's healthy. I just speak from personal experience. I feel the worst when I have consumed an F ton of social media. When I'm constantly on Instagram, constantly on TikTok, constantly on YouTube, and I don't give myself a break to let my brain just de-stress, I felt terrible. So I started recently implementing, I think around 2020 or 2021, I came up with this concept of social detoxes, whether it be also not editing as much and also just not using Instagram. I would do little mini detoxes where I would just delete the app off my phone and not go on it, and just read a book, watch a movie, just do something, meditate, go for a run, because I really don't think you're meant to be doing that much. So in your shadow work, I want you to write out why am I just mindlessly consuming? What am I trying to block out? What pain am I trying to heal? What am I seeking at the bottom of this mindless scrolling? Because I really do think that bottomless social media consumption is just you trying to numb some sort of pain. I'll be real, when I'm exhausted from work, that's when I mostly scroll. I'm just and so I don't feel any better. If I read a book, I'd be yeah, much better. So I think that part of the social shadow work is to kind of examine, why are you using so much damn social media content? We both know it's not healthy for you. So figure out what is driving you in this consumption. Okay, coming in at number 10, you still haven't picked up a book? So I think this one's really big. I have definitely mentioned this in a lot of my videos where I really do recommend that people read a bit more. I don't think that that's really popular in our gen or our era, but God, I have to be frank, and I think that's something that, because this video is about tough love and shadow work. If you are not reading and you're not trying to, self-improve, I know that sounds very oh my gosh, self-improvement, toxic self-improvement, but no, seriously, on a real note, I really do think that you should be reading a little bit more, because let's be real, I'm pretty sure you're not even reading that much to begin with. We're not talking about the people who are reading 2-3 books in a month, or I'm pretty sure you probably haven't touched a book this entire year. Let's be real, let's be honest, okay? Let's actually be honest. And I can say that because there's been plenty of years where I too have gone without reading books. I've recently got back into it because I've been taking my channel a lot more seriously. I need fresh content, I need more intelligent content. So because of that, I've gone back to reading to help improve and sharpen my mind. But I feel anything, honestly, anything would be better than mindlessly scrolling. Just the mere act of reading is calming. Even if it's a dirty paperback, just read something for God's sake. Start with the dirty paperbacks. At least it'll get you excited and motivated. And the reason that I include this in the shadow work is because I think that reading is just so good for the mind. It's just such a good mental health exercise to just read something and not be constantly on a social media platform. I don't think that that's healthy. So I think that examine why it is that you aren't reading or why you have stopped reading in these past couple years, because I think that that can be really, really beneficial. Oh, and one last thing, I also want to mention journaling, because that is in the realm of books. If you have not picked up journaling, I know it sounds very 12-year-old teenage girl. She has She has a journal, she has a diary. Like, what in the world could you possibly write about? But in that lets you kind of like word vomit out all the trash that's up here. If you never get it out, you're just constantly cluttering up your mind. It's like a motor. There's too much oil in there. You're not like getting it out. And so I think that in this shadow work, if you have not picked up diary entering or journaling or all of that stuff, I really do think that's something that you need to pick up. And it doesn't matter how old you are, especially if you're older than me. Like if you're in your 30s, 40s, you have a lot that you can get out there. And if you're younger, you should be using it to kind of record things, the things that inspire you. I even think that you should still be doing that in your 30s and your 40s and your 50s and your 60s. Like it's a never ending process. What is it, the guy, the Colonel who made Kentucky Fried Chicken? He did that when he was 60. You're never too old and you're never too young to journal. Journaling is just so good for your mental health because it's private. No one's gonna read it. It's just for you. So there you can dream big, write everything that you wanted to do. Get on that. You're gonna thank me. The shadow work starts when you start getting it down on paper. Okay, and coming in at number 11, why are you spending money on X, Y, and Z? So I think that because we live in such a hyper-consumerist society, I can definitely include this as a shadow work point. A lot of the things that we spend our money on is representations of what's up in our minds. Like, for example, I don't give a shit about boating. I don't read boat magazines. I will never spend my money on a boat. I think that's stupid, especially because Lake Ontario stinks. But if you're a boat enthusiast, you will spend money on boat repairs. You'll spend money on the yacht convention. You'll spend money on, do you get what I'm saying? And I say boat for whatever it is that you like. So I'll use myself as an example. I love skincare and I will definitely spend more than I think is healthy on skincare, but that's part of the shadow work. And I'll give an example of how that is part of shadow work. I'm in my 30s. I am terrified of aging, especially because my face is on camera. I'm like, how am I supposed to compete against the youth? And that was something that haunted me since I turned 29. I'm a lot older than that now, and I've actually started to make some peace with that because I've actually started to realize this is actually an asset, this is actually an advantage. I'm now in a different sphere. I have a different community now. I'm in my 30s. So now I'm going to be talking to a different audience, and like that's fine. Like I have to age with grace for the sake of my viewers. Like it's not just about me. But that's aside. All that skincare was because the shadow work behind it was like, I'm getting old. No one wants to see an oldie on camera. I have no idea what I'm going to do when I really can't. Like the wrinkles, it's just going to be so obvious on camera. What am I supposed to do? And that deep-rooted pain and that deep-rooted fear made me buy all that skincare. I was like, I should buy this and I should buy that because this society is so unforgiving on aging women. So because of that, that is the shadow work that I am currently working through. And we are all working through things. I can use a younger shadow work. When I used to buy double extra small clothing that didn't fit or even go up my butt, but I would still buy and hoard it at home and look at it and hate myself. I eventually did shadow work on that too. I realized I would buy those double extra smalls because I was trying to manifest the body that I wanted. It wasn't until after I unfortunately developed an eating disorder. It wasn't until people on my social media were like, oh, you're so pretty, that I realized I'm actually pretty and I don't have to buy that much makeup. And that really freed me. And because of that, I was able to start a no buy, low buy with makeup and get past that addiction. So I really hope that this shadow work could have helped you out, helped any pain points that you might be experiencing, because I want 2024 to be your best year ever. Comment down below if you've implemented any of these. I would love to hear it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.